friends, welcome back to our channel. In today's video I'm coming at you from the goat yard. Also my kids are running around playing because it's nice out, so you might hear some goats and kids in the background, so don't mind that. But if you are new around here, I'm KyAnn and we have a backyard homestead with goats and chickens, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you our first experience breeding goats and how that's gone, an update with all of that, as well as our plans for the dairy goats, the backyard dairy goats for this year and this season, which will be our second season having dairy goats. So don't mind the background noise, like I said, with the animals and children running around, but I thought it would be fun to come at you since it's nice outside from the actual goat yard and you might see the goats popping in and out here and there. So if you are new around here, I would love if you would subscribe if you want to see more backyard homesteading content, and if you're not new around here, thank you so much for watching our videos and I can't wait to share with you today's video. Also, I will say don't mind the background. Our barn got quite messy with all of the winter storms and snow, and I don't even know what happened, but it got quite messy, and so now that it's warmed up we need to spray it off and clean it up, but we haven't done that quite yet, so we're planning to do that this weekend, so don't mind that. We had to take a small break because my toddler had to go to the bathroom, and I had to figure out how to set up the camera so that I can be in here, so hopefully it's not too close. But to give you a quick overview of our goats that we have had goats for coming up on a year now, just almost a year, and we have 4 goats. 3 of them are Nigerian dwarf and 1 of them is a full standard Nubian goat, and we got 2 of them as bottle babies and did the whole bottle feeding thing and all of that, so we got them when they were really young, and then we got 1 Nigerian dwarf mama right after she had her baby. So her baby was 3 days old when we got her. We had to hold on her most of her pregnancy, and then once she had her babies we ended up keeping 1 of them. She had 3 babies, we kept 1 of them, which is this one right here, Churro, and she came with her. Watch out. And we then were able to start milking S'mores, the mom, pretty quickly, right away. So I started, you know, like learning how to milk, and then obviously we waited for a couple weeks until we were able to separate the kid, this Churro, who is now huge, at night, and then get into a milking routine a few weeks after she had her babies. So anyways, that's kind of the backstory on the goats that we have. And in the past year, like I said, 3 of them were babies, so we were just caring for them and raising them up, and then S'mores, we were milking her, and we milked her for, let me think, probably almost, let's see, 4 to 6 months, and then I actually got unexpectedly pregnant with baby number 3, which we are expecting here in about 2 months or less. And I have really hard pregnancies where I'm really sick and in the hospital every other day for infusions and all of that. I've talked about this on my channel before, so you can check out some of my other videos. But because of that, and because we did have Churro still with us and she was still nursing, we were able to transition to letting the baby kind of like wean her. And Camden, please put that stick down. That's a big stick. Stop eating my shirt. All the distractions. We were able to not milk her every single day because we still had the baby, because I wasn't able to like physically do it at that point. If we wouldn't have had the baby, then Matt would have had to be the one to take over and go out there and milk every day, because obviously you can't just like dry them off out of nowhere. So that's where we've been up until now. So now moving forward, this year we are breeding the goats, or we have bred the goats for the very first time. We didn't do that at all. Like I said, S'mores was already bred when we put the hold on her and all of that, and we didn't get her until after she had her babies, and then the rest were babies. So because we don't want to buck here, and you know, the stink and mess, and you know, we have a small space, we don't want to have a buck. You're gonna see goats going in and out. We don't want to have a buck here at this time. Maybe when we have more property someday, but we knew we were interested in doing like a buck services, like rent a buck type situation. So if you don't want to own a buck yourself, you can find people in your area that, she's trying to eat the camera, that allow you to either bring your does to them and leave them there to breed with some of their bucks, or you can do like driveway breeding where they bring the buck to you. And so the lady that we got S'mores and her baby from does allow that, and so we sent S'mores, which is a full-grown Nigerian dwarf that has already had, this will be her 3rd kidding, we sent her and then Chai, which is our full-grown Nubian who's now old enough to be bred. We sent them to be bred. So we sent them off. We took them out to her farm, which is about an hour each way, and we paid her a fee, which was really, really reasonable and affordable. It was nothing crazy. We got to pick out which buck for each of them, and then they stayed there for a month so that they would have a heat cycle. She watched them to wait until they were in heat, put them in with each buck, and then they got to come home. So that experience was very smooth, very easy. It was not complicated. Obviously we weren't involved in the specific breeding. We just took them out there and left and then came back and got them. But it was a very, very simple and easy process as far as that goes. So definitely look into that in your area if you're interested in breeding your goats, but you don't want to have a buck actually on your property. So we have found out she did a pregnancy test for us, which they have to be a month along before they can do it. And so she did it right before we went and picked them up. And S'mores, this one that's right here with me trying to get in the camera, S'mores is pregnant. So she is confirmed bred. Her earliest due date is April 13th, so somewhere around that time we will be having goat babies. This will be her third kidding. She has done 2 kiddings before. This last year she had 3 babies. I can't remember how many she had her first year. I think she had 1 or 2 the first year, but she likely will have probably 3 again. And like I said, she's an experienced mom. She's a good mom. She's, you know, all of those things. So we know that she is pregnant. Chai came back open, which if they're not a month along, they can still come back open even if they are pregnant. And so she would have had to have gotten pregnant in those first few days for it to show up on the blood test. So we're gonna wait a few weeks and do a blood test here. We're gonna learn how to do that ourselves, so we'll see how that goes. And then we will find out if she is actually pregnant or not, or if we need to take her back and try again, essentially. So that's kind of the update on where we are at with the breeding. The other update that I'll share about the goats is we've had kind of our first sickness running through, well, just Chai, our Nubian. Shortly after she came back, she ended up getting what we now think is probably just a cold, but we were suspecting it could be pneumonia. And it was right after we had that really bad cold spell where it got down to -30 degrees with the wind chill. Like, it was really, really cold. And she started to have a little bit of wheezing. She had like a runny nose, and she just was not doing well. She had a few days where she was not wanting to get up and walk around much, and she just was not acting like herself. Sorry, I'm checking on my kids. She was not acting like herself at all. And we were able to get her some probiotics. We were able to get her some like molasses water for some energy, check her temperature regularly to make sure it was in normal range, all of those things. And we actually didn't have to do any like medication or anything like that, and she started getting better, which is really, really good. I am a little nervous since she got sick. If she is pregnant, I'm hoping that that didn't cause any complications with her pregnancy, but thankfully she has recovered, because honestly a couple of those days we were really nervous about it, and we weren't quite sure. She was having diarrhea also, if I didn't mention that. And so obviously goats' health, like, they can really go downhill very quickly, and so it's something that you have to keep an eye on them and notice. Stop eating my shirt, it does not taste good. It's something that you really have to keep an eye on them and like make sure. Look, she's just trying to eat my shirt. You want to say hello? Make sure that you are laying eyes on them and doing everything you can to ensure that they're healthy, because it can go downhill really quickly. We do have a vet as well that we would have taken her to if we needed to, but we were watching her and kind of handling, you know, some of the general things that we could do first and seeing how that went. And thankfully she seems to be fully recovered now and doing really well, so we feel really good about that. I'm just gonna hold this for the time being because they just are very interested in me being out here with the camera. Okay, so now as far as our plans for this coming year. So we have Syrup and Churro that are both getting to the age in the next couple months that they could be bred. The problem with that is Syrup, I can find her in a minute. Actually, she's out with the kids. She is out running around the main yard. Sometimes we let them out and let them eat the leaves and things like that, and we have not really done that this winter at all. And she got out when I was coming in here, and I just let her stay out there. She's gonna clean up some of the leaves for me. But anyways, she's our smallest goat, and she is a Nigerian dwarf. She was a runt of like her siblings and all of that, and she has stayed very small. She actually is the same age as Chai, who is a full-size standard goat, but she is like several months older than Churro, our other Nigerian dwarf that popped in a second ago, and she's much smaller. And so we didn't, even though she's the same age as Chai, we didn't feel comfortable breeding her yet, just because she is on the small side. And we're not sure, we need to get a second opinion on whether she can be bred in general, if she's just a small goat, and like if we breed her with a smaller buck, if that would be okay health-wise for her, or if she's gonna be a goat that we can't breed at all. And we're not sure about that. If we find out that she can't be bred at all, we likely will rehome her, just because we do have a small property obviously here. We only have a 1/4 acre. We can only have so many goats. We only have so much space and all of that. And we really are doing this for dairy. Like, we're not just doing it to have a pet, although we love the goats, we love their personalities, and you know, they are kind of like pets as well to us, and we love them and we're attached to them, but we also, you know, want to make sure that they're serving a purpose if we do have such a small property. So she's one that we're kind of waiting to see. And then Churro is large, like she is a good sized goat, and I think she could be bred now or in the next few months. And so we're kind of trying to decide, because we have had, stop being loud. It's like I come out here and all of them get loud at the same time because they're used to me bringing them food at this time. So sorry about that. But we have had conversations about downsizing a little bit. We have 4 goats right now, and we've talked about selling and rehoming 1 or 2 of them, just to have a little less cost in the feed side of it. They're not super expensive or anything like that, but again, up until now we've only been milking 1 of them, and so if we're not going to be milking several of them, I think we would like to rehome them and have a little bit less care and maintenance and feed costs as well in the property that we are in. So we've talked about rehoming Churro. We've also talked about breeding her and keeping her here and seeing how she does with milking as well. So we're not quite sure about that. So we will either breed her and then sell her bred, like pregnant, in like the spring-ish, or we will breed her and keep her here on the farm, and then we would have like late summer, early fall babies. So I'm not exactly sure yet on our plans for that, if that tells you, but we're considering those options. And then as far as our plans for Chai and S'mores, obviously we will be milking both of them. We're very excited to milk Chai, especially because I milked S'mores last year and she did not give as much milk as I had hoped. Now obviously she's a miniature goat, so there's that, but she did not give as much as even close to the average that Nigerian dwarfs normally do. So we're gonna see if she, you know, produces more this time around or not. And then Chai is a full-size standard goat, so she should produce quite a bit more. Now granted, it'll be her first kidding, so she may not produce like to the full capacity that she will in her lifetime with her first kidding, but I'm very curious to see how that goes. We actually really like our Nubian, and we're very interested to see if we stick more with Nubians than Nigerian dwarfs, if we really enjoy milking Chai and all of the things that come along with that. So we will see. If Chai has a girl baby, a doeling, we will probably keep her if we do end up rehoming 1 or 2 of the other ones, just to have another full-size standard goat here so that we can have more milk production basically here in our backyard homestead, to have a larger capacity. That is something we've been interested in from the beginning and something we've thought about, but yeah, we just have a small capacity as far as space here too. And then as far as all the other babies, we will keep them here for 8 to 12 weeks so that they can nurse and be with mom and all of those things. Even the chickens are being loud. What is happening? So they will be here running around, and we'll have lots of baby goat content for the first couple months, and we'll make sure they're well cared for and all of those things and have everything they need to set them off well. And then we will be selling all of them, except, like I said, if Chai has a doeling, then we will likely keep her, but the rest we will be selling, and they will go to new farms and new homes to be either dairy goats or, you know, whatever purpose they will serve on their own farm. So we're excited for that. We can't wait to see the babies that come out of each of them. Like I said, this is our first time like doing the breeding process ourselves, and so it'll be really interesting to see like just the different colors and genetics and things like that that come out of each of them. And yeah, we're very excited about that. As far as other projects for the goats this year, we have plans to repaint this and update this a little bit. Most of it's painted, but we have a few spots that aren't, and we want it to be, even if like we built this all with free wood. So we built it from pallets and then free scrap wood that we had, which is amazing. But I'd like it to look a little bit more put together and, you know, just update it a little bit just for aesthetic purposes. So we will be repainting that and kind of freshening that up a little bit. We also will be building temporary kidding pens for Chai and s'mores, for them to have their babies in, because you usually want to have a separate space that they can go into when they're laboring, and then for the first little bit after they have their babies, just to make sure everything's good before you reintroduce them back in with everyone else. So we'll be setting up those temporary kidding pens. And then other than that, the other major project that I want to figure out this year is goat pen maintenance. Because we have a smaller area, we don't have like acres and acres of pasture. And so most people do not clean up goat poop. Like they just let it, you know, compost down. It's really good for the soil, all of those things, which is great. But when you have a smaller pen, I just feel like it looks messy really quickly between the chickens and the goats, just with the hay and straw for their bedding and their food, and then obviously manure is in there as well. And we haven't figured out a great solution for that yet. We have come in and cleaned it out many times. It takes forever. It's a big pain in the butt because goat poop is really tiny, like little beans, and it's really annoying to pick up. Obviously it's great for the garden, which is awesome, but it takes a lot of time, and like I said, most people don't do that. But again, I don't want it to look super messy, so I'm trying to figure out what the best schedule is. So if you guys have goats, let me know what you do. If you don't have acres and acres of pasture land, like, do you clean it out? Do you just let it compost down and, you know, clean up, you know, areas if it gets really messy with the hay and straw? Do you go in as needed to grab stuff for the garden? What do you do? I don't know. I'm trying to figure all of that out. So those are some of our plans for this year. For the dairy goats, we've really enjoyed having the goats. They're a lot of fun. We love their personalities. I love coming out and hanging out with them some, although honestly I haven't come out like this in a while to just sit out here. I come and do chores and, you know, interact with them and pet them and love on them and all of those things. But last spring I was coming out and sitting out here a lot with them, and I haven't done that since the weather hasn't been so nice. So sitting out here has me really excited for spring to come out here and have all the baby goats running around and watch them just being so funny, because baby goats are just hilarious. But yeah, we're excited for what is to come. They have definitely been a really great, you know, addition to our little backyard farm. Thank you so much for watching my video. Hopefully this was helpful to share with you, like, new goat owners, you know, some of our plans and our first times breeding and all of those things. And if you are interested in goats or backyard homesteading or dairy goats, any of those things, definitely subscribe and leave us a comment, and we would love for you to join our little community. And if you aren't new around here, thank you so much for watching this video, and we can't wait to make more. So until next time, we will see you guys soon. Bye, friends.
I know that you are having a hard time right now. That everything seems to crumble around you.
What is it? Oh, it's a chicken feather.
I know that you feel all alone in this world.